So Kanye West's latest Adidas Yeezy sneaker, the Yeezy 450, is one of the most polarizing sneakers to drop this year. And I've been wearing this shoe for about 2.5, almost 3 weeks at this point, and I've got some thoughts. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today we're taking a closer look at the Adidas Yeezy 450 after wearing it for 2 weeks straight. First off though, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have not yet subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bell, and also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. And as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, over the last couple weeks, I was actually doing a giveaway for a pair of 450s. In fact, it's that pair right back there, and the winner has actually already been chosen, so if you guys want to see if the winner was you, make sure to head on over to my Instagram. I'll announce it over there on my Instagram story and also on the original post. Also, thank you so much to everyone who entered. It was a really great giveaway, and if you didn't win, make sure to stay tuned because there will be more giveaways in the very near future. So right after I posted the initial Yeezy 450 review, I decided to wear this shoe as my only shoe for the next couple weeks, and I actually drove all the way down to North Carolina and wore this shoe for pretty much the entire trip. And man, this shoe got beat. I mean, it's dirty as hell. It's covered in grass stains. I actually cleaned off the other side of the pair, the left side, and even after using a bunch of Rejuvenator on it, it's still pretty dirty. I think it's just the foam that they used on this shoe. It's similar to the foam runner, even though it's a very durable sneaker and doesn't wear down that quickly. If you get a stain like this black stain I have across the bottom, it doesn't come out for a very long time. You have to scrub at it and scrub at it. Sometimes it just doesn't come out, but in the case of this shoe, it's on the bottom, so it doesn't really matter that much. And I do think that's pretty much the case with the Yeezy 450s. All the stains that you're gonna get are gonna be on the sides of the midsole or on the bottom, so they're really not that big of a deal. So I actually ended up filming a couple clips from that trip on my phone, and I wanted to show you guys those clips because that was really the first time that I had started wearing the shoe as my daily shoe. Alright, so today is the first day of the wear test, and we're actually going on a road trip to North Carolina, which is going to take about 9 hours, and it's going to be 9 hours of me driving in the Yeezy 450s. So hopefully that works out. If not, well, I guess I'll let you guys know, but I'm going to wear these shoes for the entire trip and then for the following week. Also, unfortunately, we're not taking the Acura, which is too bad because the painted brake calipers make it go so much faster. It's crazy. Check these out. Ooh, look at that. Pure speed. Also added that custom mod myself. Check it out. Really adds to the shape of the car. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think my car could make it farther than like 2 hours worth of driving. So we've been driving for about 6 hours at this point, and they feel fine. They really do. They feel like they've stretched out a little bit. They breathe well. I mean, I haven't really been walking around too much, but they feel good. Okay, so after like 8 hours of driving, we finally got in. We do a really quick, well, I should pull off the shoes before I did this. Seemed to be fine, didn't have any issues. Walked around a couple rest stops, carried a bunch of stuff into the Airbnb, but other than that, I mean, they're still pretty comfy. They're not like mind-blowingly comfy, but they're good. And sizing has gotten better the more that I've worn them. It's still not incredible. I still would have liked to have gone up half a size, but it's not bad. They are getting a little bit dirty though, which is kind of frustrating on Nick because that's hard to get out. But a black colorway would definitely hide all the scuffs a lot better than this white one, but it is what it is. So I guess my first overall takeaway from this shoe, or at least the first thing that I noticed when I put the shoe on, was how tight the shoe was. I bought the shoe in a size 9, which is my standard size, and in my initial review I said that it's probably a good idea to go up half a size, or if you have wide feet, maybe go up a full size. And while I've got to say I definitely got used to the fit of this shoe, I still think that that's not a bad call. I still think it wouldn't hurt to go up half a size because this shoe is definitely tight. I have narrow feet and it was still tight on me. It's also kind of interesting because in the comments of my initial review, I had a bunch of people saying that, oh, over time it loosens up. But I don't think I've ever really had that happen with any other Adidas knit sneaker, and I don't think that's the case with this shoe. I think I just started to get used to it. But I guess staying on that point, why don't we talk about the overall fit and comfort of the Adidas Yeezy 450. So like I said, I still feel the same way about the fit of this shoe as I did in my initial review. I would definitely suggest going up half a size unless you like a very snug fit and have more narrow feet. That's the only way that I would recommend going true to size. I mean, sure, if you have wide feet, maybe you could go true to size. Maybe it wouldn't crunch your feet. But at least for me, I know if I had more wide feet, it just wouldn't feel that great. So I would definitely recommend going up half a size. And I don't think the fit is tight just because of the knit. I also think it's because of these foam fingers that kind of wrap up from the midsole. They act as sort of like a foam midfoot cage that actually does a really good job of holding you in place and keeping you secure in the shoe. It's really interesting to me that they did that, and I wonder if that would actually be good for performance basketball sneakers because it would keep your foot from kind of sliding around on the footbed. As far as padding on the upper, there wasn't a lot. In fact, the softest parts of the upper were these foam fingers. The actual knit itself is really the only thing you have against your foot, and it's a very sock-like feel. Something else I found kind of interesting about this upper is the lacing system, and the fact that it really doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess, sure, if the shoe was like way too oversized for you, you could tighten the laces and they might pull the upper together a little bit, but even then, I don't think it's gonna tighten the shoe that much. And these little loops that kind of come off of the knit that hold the laces in place, or these eyelets, I guess that they are, they don't really seem to do much either. I don't know. In my opinion, the laces on this shoe are purely aesthetic, and to be fair, I do think that they make the shoe look better because I feel like it wouldn't look that great if it didn't have the laces, but I definitely wouldn't have minded if they had used that infinity lacing system that they started to use early last year. These laces are just so long and kind of useless, it's almost like, what's the point, you know? And even if you loosen them up completely, I don't know. As far as comfort goes, the knit against your foot feels fine. If you've worn knit Adidas sneakers before, you probably know exactly how this feels. It's also relatively breathable, so it never really gets hot and your foot never really overheats in this shoe. I guess the part of the shoe that's most interesting to people is this foam midsole. And my thought on this midsole is, again, I think it's purely aesthetic. The foam itself feels fine. It's actually very similar to the foam used on the foam runners, like I said before. Comfort-wise, feel-wise, it might actually be, I don't know, might even be a little bit softer, but it's a similar foam and it reminds me a lot of like maybe Adidas Bounce or something like that. Definitely not as soft as Boost. It does feel fine underfoot. I wouldn't say that this shoe is uncomfortable by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a comfortable shoe, but it's not incredible cushioning. Like, it'll be fine if you're walking around. I wouldn't run in this shoe. I wouldn't even really do anything other than walk in this shoe, but it feels fine. I never do this, but if I had to give this foam like a 1 to 10 rating system, 1 being a hardwood floor and 10 being like Zoom X, I would probably give this maybe a 7, a 6. It's nice, it's soft enough, but it's not incredible. Actually, I don't know, maybe a Boost is an 8 or a 9. I don't know, maybe a 6. But why don't we move on to the aesthetics and the actual styling and look of the Adidas Yeezy 450. So as I'm sure you know, this is the very first colorway of the 450 to release. It's the Cloud White colorway, and it's definitely one of the more plain 450 colorways, at least that we've seen. There is supposed to be like a charcoal colorway coming out maybe the middle of the year around the summertime. It's an all black colorway or like an all dark gray colorway. But to be honest, even though like this cream white colorway or bone colorway isn't that exciting, I think it's more exciting than the charcoal colorway because you can actually see the different details along the sides of the sneaker. I will say though that this shoe in this colorway gets dirty, like mad dirty. Maybe it's just because I was driving in this shoe for like 16 hours and walking through fields and on sidewalks and all over the place, but man, this foam is a dirt magnet. It's crazy. As far as the actual upper of the shoe goes, this knit material, the styling is pretty standard. It looks just like a standard sock-like knit Adidas sneaker. But obviously the part of the shoe that really draws your attention is the foam midsole that wraps almost all the way up the upper. And I know this is definitely the most polarizing detail for a lot of people, and a lot of people just don't like this aesthetic, but for me, I just love how unique this shoe is. No, it's not the prettiest shoe in the world, and it's definitely more of an ugly duckling than a beautiful work of art, but what I like about it is how different it is and how there's not really much else like it on the market. It's the same thing with the foam runner. This shoe is ugly, for sure. I'm not gonna lie about that there's nothing really else like this on the market. It's an insane looking sneaker. It looks like an alien foot. So does this one actually, but there's nothing else like it. Maybe it's the designer in me or the sneakerhead or whatever, I don't know what it is, but I just love crazy looking shoes. Maybe not so much crazy colorways, but crazy looking styles. That's what I love. So the actual consistency and the feel of the foam doesn't change from the midsole to these sort of fingers. It stays the same. It's the same foam material. There's no change other than the thinness of the foam itself. And interestingly, what I found that I love the most about the style when I was wearing this shoe is that when you look down on it, you can see all these little bumps that come out from the side, and it's such a unique look. It's just so interesting. I mean, even when you look at the bottom of the shoe, you've got these waves in the outsole, and it's just such a cool look. I mean, it's definitely polarizing, and if you don't like it, I totally get it, but there's something charming about it. I don't know. There's so much dust and dirt coming off the shoe, it's ridiculous. Speaking of that, like I said, the foam really picks up a lot of dirt, and not just because it's a porous and absorbent material, but also because these little pockets that are sort of formed into the midsole of the shoe, they almost act as like bowls that pick up dirt, and it's the weirdest thing. I've never seen anything like it on any other shoe, but man, these pick up a lot of dirt. On the shoe that I cleaned, that was actually the hardest part to clean. I actually had to get my finger in there and kind of dig out all the dirt. It was weird. I've never had to do anything like that on a pair of shoes before, but you know what? Hey, it's a unique detail, and because it's a unique detail, it's got its own unique problems, and the dirtiness is definitely a problem. Which brings up an interesting thought. I think overall, the Adidas Yeezy 450 is a crazy looking shoe. It's definitely an out there shoe, and it's relatively comfortable, but it's not a shoe that you can wear every single day. And the reason I say that is because I don't know how durable the shoe is gonna be. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I don't know how strong this knit is. And honestly, it's kind of a high maintenance shoe. Like the fact that you have to dig out this dirt from the corners and the fact that it's just, you know, a shoe that's really gonna absorb the stains makes it one of those sneakers that you can't just throw on all the time. Well, I mean, I guess you can, and you could definitely do that with the all black colorway, but for this cloud white colorway, this is gonna require some maintenance to keep it looking like fresh. Something that I did find kind of interesting that I just totally didn't expect is that this is actually a really great driving shoe. It's not very bulky, so it's easy to move your foot around the pedals, and there's also this nice sweep up towards the heel of the shoe that allows you to kind of like easily push on the pedals. There's no kind of like jerking around in the bottom. I mean, it's an unexpected use case. Like I really loved driving in this shoe. I wore this shoe for like 16 hours on a road trip, and it still felt great. It never overheated because of the knit. The driving experience was super easy because of that swoop up on the heel, and it was just an all-around good driving shoe. I mean, is this a shoe that I would recommend picking up just for driving? Probably not. I mean, it's very expensive for that, but hey, you know what? It was good at it. So I guess to wrap things up on the Adidas Yeezy 450, this $200 shoe is a really great shoe if you can grab it for 200 bucks. If you're into the aesthetic and you like the way that this shoe looks, that's really the main selling point with this sneaker. It's not mind-blowingly comfortable. I mean, it'll get the job done, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing Boost under your feet. And it's one of those shoes that if you really don't like the way that this sneaker looks, it's not going to change your mind when you wear the sneaker. There's nothing else about this shoe that makes it incredible other than the hype factor. I will say though that this shoe looks miles better on foot. Like this shoe looks like a wonton when it's just sitting by itself, like that's totally true, but when you wear this shoe and you see it on foot, it looks pretty solid, at least in my opinion. Right now, the resale price of the Yeezy 450 is around $460, $450. It's kind of funny, dollars on the resale market, which is not crazy, but it's not cheap either. As I'm sure with most other Yeezy silhouettes, in the next year or so, they'll probably drop a bunch of colorways on these, so if you're willing to wait a couple months to grab a pair for retail, I'd say do that. However, like with most other Yeezy releases, it usually takes 6 months to a year for another colorway to drop, and that second colorway is usually just as hard to get as the first colorway. So I don't know, it's really up to you. If you love the way that this sneaker looks, both on feet and off, definitely pick one up if you can for retail. If you're willing to pay resale, fine, I guess go for it. It's probably going to be cheaper now than it will be in the next couple months. But I will say, if you don't like the way it looks, there's not too much else about it to make you really want it. So if you don't like it, don't buy it. But now I would love to know your thoughts on this sneaker, the Yeezy 450, and whether you grabbed a pair for yourself and what your thoughts are on the sneaker, even if you didn't grab a pair. So make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.